Are you tired of not creating high value content? Are you a content creator, a filmmaker, or a storyteller struggling to launch your film, knowing how to optimize your content so that you can increase your revenue to scale your impact and skyrocket your profits? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create high value content. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with some ancient text that gives us wisdom from the wisest king that ever lived. We have recorded from him some wisdom. So let's drop it. It's in Proverbs 27, verse 23. It says, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and to attend to your herds, for riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. When the hay is removed and the tender grass shows itself, and the herbs of the mountains are gathered in, the lambs will provide your clothing, and the goats the price of a field. You shall have enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and the nourishment of your maidservants." Joshua, what does it have to do with anything for me to learn how to launch my film, optimize my content, increase my revenue, scale my impact, and skyrocket my profits? It has everything to do with it, and we're going to get into it right now. Hi guys, I'm Joshua Keith Carpenter, and I am a content licensing executive for over a decade, where I've personally negotiated over 400 films and licensed over 600 films into the global marketplace. And I am here to help you create high value content. So let's get into it. I'm going to pull up the whiteboard right now and follow along with me, and I'm going to show you the global content quadrant. And if you have not yet visited the website, go to globalcontent.co. That's globalcontent.co, where I teach storytellers, filmmakers, content creators how to implement the global content 6-part framework into your process so that you can going from launching your film all the way through to scaling your profits. So right here in the quadrant, everyone loves these movies. Number one, everyone loves watching HC times HV. This just stands for high content times high value. And we all know these as our tentpoles movie. Drop in the comment, what is your favorite tentpole movie? Mine's The Notebook. Noah Shane. Let's go. Let's see. Number two is we're going to have HC times LV. Joshua, what is that? That is high content, low value. See, some more wisdom is the parable of Jesus in Matthew 25, where he talks about a man is going on a journey, a king is going on a journey, and he's leaving his talents with his 3 servants. One was given 1, one was given 2, one was given 5, and he was expecting a return. He was wanting them to double their the talents when he returns. Well, what did the one with the 5 do? He doubled it. He gave them back 10. What did the one with the 2 do? He doubled it and gave them back 4. What did the one with the 1 do? He was afraid, and he put his head on the ground. He put the talent in the ground, and he didn't do anything. And what happened? His talent was taken away and given to the other guys. However, how does that relate to any of this? It has everything to do with this. You don't have to be the one person, the one talent person that put it in the ground, because you can still double it. See, it says that in accordance to their ability, the talents was given. So let's just say if you're a first-time filmmaker, drop in the comments. First-time filmmaker. If you're a second, third, fourth film, just let me know in the comments how many films you have already released in the marketplace. How many documentaries, films, or series, or let me know if you're only starting with shorts, not a problem. And we're going to get into that, why this is the next quadrant is really cool. So high content, low value. When we try to operate out of the grace that we have, the ability that we have, we try to create the tent poles. However, we don't have the budget to do it. Your lighting may not be good enough. You forget to capture really good sound, right? So we fail in those efforts because we're not operating in that 5 talent yet, and that's okay. So how do we go from this to the next one? The high cost, low value. That's what we want to stay. We want to stay away from that. When we try to operate out of the grace that we have and try to be the 5 talent, we end up creating high cost, but has low value. So let's put a big X beside that one, right? So now what is number 3? Number 3 is, well, we want to go from, how about low cost and learn low value. Well, Joshua, that's not that great. However, if you're only starting from short films, if you're a first-time filmmaker and you're just learning how to create shorts, learn how to turn your individual shorts into a continuous series, right? So you're creating low cost and you're getting better. Your first film is always going to be your guinea pig. You're going to learn, man, that was awesome that I learned that. But then you're also going to learn, that was horrible. I'm never going to do that again. Put in the comments if you've ever experienced that, right? But to say, at least you're taking a risk at a lower cost, especially if you're using OPM, other people's money, right? If you know that you're going to owe this money back, who wants to be in this number 2 quadrant, having a high cost and low value? We're going to owe a lot of people a lot of money and be in debt forever. Who wants to be the borrower versus the lender? No, I want to be the lender, not the borrower. So number 3, low cost, low value. Learn how to create good content at a low cost. Even if you're not high value yet, you're at least learning the processes so that you can learn how to get to this 4th quadrant right here where we want to live. If you want to know how to create high impact content, we're going to learn how to create low cost LCxHV. That is low cost, high value. If you guys are into, let's just call it any type of genre, let's say a Hallmarkish type movie where, let's say $1.5 million budget. What, I can't afford that. So I'm not in the typical quadrant. I don't want to create the number 2 quadrant, and low cost, low value. That's not going to help me. So how can I create a Hallmarkish type movie at a low cost, high value? Right. So that's where we want to live. We want to live in number 4. Now, I'm not talking to the ones that are already in the tent poles, but if you're a first-time filmmaker or seasons and still not excited, you haven't created that high impact, high profit yet, let's learn how to master this quadrant of the global content quadrant, the low cost, high value. So I do that by teaching one simple question. It's this: what assets do you have access to? Imagine 3 columns. If I ask you, hey, John, Jane Doe, what type of assets do you have access to? Do you live in the woods? Do you live on a ranch? Do you live in the inner city? Do you live on a lake? Do you live on the beach? There's a really great book called Acres of Diamonds, and it's talking about this guy going on a journey and he's looking for diamonds, and the diamonds are in his backyard the whole time. So let's starting where you're at. So right away, I don't want to increase my budget and go to the high cost for no reason. I want to live here. What can I use that I already have in my backyard to create the low cost? So imagine 3 columns. What assets do you have access to that is free? The number 2 column would be the friend zone. What assets do my friends have, or my friends have access to, that can give me a friend rate? And then versus number 3 is, what assets will I have to pay maybe full price for? So to creating low content, high value, let's start with what's in our backyard, what's in column number 1, maybe column 2, to keep the budget low while creating really good story and creating a high value, right? Getting good actors that can perform well. They may be non-SAG, or if you're doing micro. So how do we keep the costs down, but tell really good stories? Master the global content 6-part framework, because number 1 is about demandability. And going back to the wisdom of King Solomon, let's read this again and go back through this. It says, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. So let me say it like this. Know how to put together a good budget, the right budget. How can I put together a high value story with a low cost budget? And it says attend to your herds. So knowing your team, right? Treating them well, attending to the herds. You're paying your actors well, maybe your cast and crew. Maybe you're the one sacrificing, not getting paid to write the story, right, on the front end, but you'll take it on the back end, right? Or having someone create a pitch deck, giving them an EP credit or something like this. Learning how to be creative. Attending to your herds. So being diligent, knowing the state of your flocks and attending to your herds. Why? For riches are not forever. How many know that we run out of budgets really quickly, right? If that's you, say, I'm already out of my budget. I need to raise funds. And if you're raising funds right now, go ahead and put in your Indiegogo or Kickstarter link in the comments below. We'd love to see how we can support local filmmakers reach global audiences. It says, nor does a crown endure to all generations. When the hay is removed, when the budget's gone and the tender grass shows itself, this is what it is. And the herds of the mountains are gathered in. When the content is created, when you figured out how to create the high value, low cost budget in the 4th global content quadrant, it says, guess what? The lambs will provide your clothing and the goats, the price of a field. So your budget, can you recoup your budget and profit? We're going to believe that the lambs will provide the clothing and that the goats, the price of the field. You shall have enough goat's milk for your food. If you're excited, say, I'm excited about that. And I love this part, for the food for your household and the nourishment for your maid servants. How cool is that, guys, that you can operate in the talent that you were given? If you're the 5, go for it, right? You're making the 10 polls already. We all want to learn for you, become a mentor. We want to stay away from the 2nd quadrant, the high cost, low value. No one wants to do that. No one wants to spend more money and create low value. And again, by implementing, and how do you avoid this? How do you avoid the global content quadrant number 2? By implementing the global content 6-part framework, learning the demand, how to increase your demandability and optimizing your discoverability and clickability, and knowing how to hook them with watchability so that you can scale your impactability and skyrocket your profitability. That's the global content 6-part framework. So for those of this, we're going to stay away from quadrant 2. We're going to learn in quadrant 3 for first-time filmmakers and ones that are still seasons, but yet not excited about you have not yet reached, you have not attained what you're wanting to reach, that high value, high profit. You've been doing it for a while, but there's just something missing. I'm going to implore to you that it's the global content 6-part framework. Start implementing that into your process and you will see that change. So for those learning in quadrant 3, the low cost, low value, no shame in that. You're operating as the 1 and the 2 talent guy. Own it, identify with it, and learn. Be educated by the people by mastering the 10 poles, right? And then also implementing the global content 6-part framework. Because why? Because for the food of your household and the nourishment of your maid servants. So not only is it about you, why you want to create impact for your message and your story, but also being profitable so that you can live and that can be recycled and create so that your first film can generate enough revenue to feed your second and third and fourth, et cetera, so that you can make a full-time living out of this. If you want to be a full-time content creator, filmmaker, storyteller, drop it in the comments. Tell us know what you want to do. So how do we do that? When we do this, the food for your household and the nourishment for your maid servants, it's living in this number 4, the global content quadrant of LC times HV, low cost times high value. When you implement the global content 6-part framework into your processes and you learn how to keep your budget low, right? When it says that we're knowing the state of our flocks and attending to our herds, what does it say? The lambs will provide the clothing, the goats, the price of the field. You shall have enough goat's milk in your food, the food for your household and the nourishment of your maidservants. So you guys will be able to return the ROI on the back end. The ones that you promise, hey, if I raise this money, I'm going to pay you back X percentage, that can come into fruition. I hope this helped you guys. I hope it blesses you. And I hope that you start implementing that so that you can finally master launching your film, knowing how to optimize your content so that you can increase your revenue, so that you can scale your impact and skyrocket your profits. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.